Hello, Test Automator. Okay, so you've chosen the test automation path. So this indicates that you've got a little more experience than some of the other students, and you'd like to try something a little bit different rather than just the basic syntax of the language. So in this case, you're going to be writing some test scripts to test against our application under test. And of course, as we start, the application under test is very simple, and so will be the test scripts. So let's take a look at the write-up here. So exercise 1.1, which of course is based on exercise 1.1 for the core path, is to create or modify a Visual Studio solution and add a project to it. And of course that project would be an MS Test project. Okay, so what we're going to do is modify the test class, or more specifically the test method in that project, and you can rename these as you see fit. I've renamed some of them and left other ones with the default name. So what you're going to do is read the description of the core path assignment. In other words, before this part of the write-up, there was a write-up about doing the core path. And so given this is your specification, what you want to do, of course, is to write a simple test to verify that that application is doing what we think it should be doing. For this assignment, and in fact all the other assignments, you are welcome to write the application under test code yourself, but you're not expected to. So if you don't write it yourself, where is it going to come from? Well, if you would like to work with another student who is writing that application under test, you're welcome to do that. Or you can simply use the supplied solution. So each of the assignments have a supplied solution, and if you are doing the test path, then it's just a matter of downloading that supplied assignment solution and running your test code against it. Now, as far as where your test code goes, or the test code project goes, versus the AUT, the application under test, you are welcome to put that in the same project as the application under test, or you could put it in a separate Visual Studio solution. Either way, of course, you will need to add a reference to the application under test from your MS Test project. Then once you've got your script written, you can bring up the Test Explorer and run it. And of course, what we would like is to have a test suite whose tests all pass. And that will happen some of the time, but there will be other times that it's not going to be particularly difficult to create a test that causes a failure in the AUT. And as we progress through the exercises, so we may see those bugs addressed, or we may not, depending on what you find or what progress we're making as we write the application under test. Now, for those of you who are writing both the AUT and the test scripts, let me point out something that has been modified in the supplied AUT. Because of the way Visual Studio works by default, classes and methods are not automatically public. So what we've done in the supplied AUT is made the class program as well as the method main public, which we have to do in order to make main visible outside of the assembly or the project in which it was created. There are a couple of other approaches to this problem. Most notably, we might use, for example, reflection to get access to private classes or private methods. But for our purposes here, this is the simplest and most straightforward approach. One quick additional item. Of course, this application under test, unlike the demonstration code, actually reads from the console window. So to address that, let's go back to the demo code. So here's that test script demo code. And of course, what we want to be able to do is not only read from the console window, but write out to it. So we just do a couple of things that are opposite of what we did before with our string writer. So as you can see, we create a string reader and use the corresponding console method setIn to set the input of our string reader. And notice that when we create our string reader, the value passed is the string that will be sent to the console application when it attempts to do a read. And that's it. So thank you for listening and happy testing.